welcome to No Idea. Unfortunately, we are not live today. We were testing some things. I've never done Zoom Live through Facebook before, but Whitney Roberts, who is the co-host here and the Chief Marketing Strategist at Idea Creative Marketing. Whitney, what's going on?
A lot. I mean, I wish we could figure out how to do live, but it is just not cooperating today.
It is not. And we were talking yesterday as we were preparing for today's session of sorts. And I think the big thing that a lot of people are trying to understand is how to get their brand or get their name out there in this sea of social media when there's so much going on. And one thing that you'd suggested was through stories. So walk us through a little bit about how stories work, and are they different on Facebook versus Instagram, for example?
They are. I mean, your audience is different, and depending on what your industry is, it's really going to make a difference. So looking at your insights is going to tell you what you need to do. If you look into the content that you've posted, you can see your engagement rates. So just check to see what works for you. And it probably will be different content. There's no reason for me to follow you on Instagram if you post the same thing on Facebook. So that's one thing I always try and tell people to keep in mind. Is we want to see different things. You're catering to different audiences, use the channels differently. But right now it's kind of, I don't want to say cool because there's a lot of negative things going on, sadness, but as far as branding on social media, people are posting less frequently. So, just being able to take time and put out quality content is really making a huge difference. We're seeing engagement rates climb up to 300% in most industries. Hotels are still a little bit rough. I don't know if anybody's looking to go on a trip right now, so that's part of it. But when the algorithm has less stuff, less posts to go through, then you're obviously going to rank higher. So just focusing on quality content is important right now, and posting, 4 times a day or 4 times a week. I've said that like 5 times now. It's per week, and sometimes even 3, but you've got to look and know your audience. What are you seeing with your pages?
It's been, because I do a podcast every week, and all these other content creators and podcasters that I listen to, they're pushing out more stuff because they say, oh, people are bored and they don't have things to do. And, I'm struggling to find time to listen to everything as it is now. And I've not really seen any kind of big changes in my, listeners either way. It certainly has not skyrocketed like some people claim that theirs have, but I do agree, and Gary Vee, who we were talking about before we went on, I've heard him talk before about using your social media channels almost like how the television networks are set up, like ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. They're all very different in what they produce. So putting things different from Facebook and Twitter and Instagram are all good ideas. Now, when you do a story, do you suggest doing the story as something completely separate from what you would post then on your regular feed?
I think so. I mean, I think one, what you put on your feed is going to stay there, and you do want a certain aesthetic, especially Instagram. Mm-hmm. So when I think of stories and when I make recommendations, things that are very time sensitive, I would put in your stories. One, the traffic is up in stories and engagement is up. So if it's something that is not going to be relevant tomorrow, let's put it in stories. If you have other information, we've got a lot of businesses and organizations that really need to post at least once a day. Mm-hmm. So those are things that you can look at and you can say, okay, well, we already have a post. And we don't want to compete against ourselves. We never want people to compete against themselves. And that's really what happens when you are posting multiple times a day. So taking those time sensitive things and putting them in stories, because they're going to go away in 24 hours anyway. That's really a great place for them. Or if you think something's funny or relevant, but it really doesn't meet, the aesthetic that you've got going on, put it in stories. So those are my recommendations. And then you can always make it interactive. So put on a poll, or make sure that you're doing your research and looking to see what other people are doing, what's getting engagement. You don't just want to throw up a post and don't put any kind of caption with it. You want to encourage engagement always.
Yeah, I made this mistake last night when I created an image for, doing No Idea. And I debated, I'm like, I should put this on my story, but instead I did, because I haven't posted anything on my timeline in a while, so I threw it on my timeline. Are you seeing a better engagement rate on stories when Facebook versus Instagram? And can you post too much to a story in a day? I know you said 4 times a week on your timeline, but because some people go way over the top with stories and that's all they post.
Right.
Is there too much though?
Again, I think that you need to look at your audience, but I've seen on Instagram, it is a continuous feed. So it is how engaged is your audience, and really what age demographic are they? If your demographic is 18 to 24, and really probably 18 to 22, you can get away with a little bit more. Right now, because people are more active, we can get, they're taking in more content.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that you need to just put 10 up, but just quality content, and they'll keep watching it as long as it's quality. But if your target audience is really 45 and up, then you need to be careful what you're looking at, because that's not the place for that.
Do you have much experience with Instagram or IGTV? I feel like attention spans are so short now because of Snapchat, because they go away, it's a 10-second snap, or, TikTok is a minute or less that people are posting. But, Instagram, you can go over a minute with a video on IGTV. Is that a good avenue for people? Are people sitting down, and I guess it depends on what content you're producing, huh?
Yeah, and really, it's all about training your audience. So if, say, you want to start creating long form content and putting it on your channels, well, that's fine. But you can't go from never posting anything more than 15 seconds or 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden put up a 4-minute video and think that people are going to want to watch. You have to give them a reason. So always build up to that. And you've got to make sure that you are giving them a reason to watch it. I mean, 4 minutes is a long time. Mm-hmm. But we have some pages that people will watch for 10, 15, 30 minutes. So it's all about, one, training your audience and giving them what they want to hear, and being interactive. If you are if you don't like to have conversation, that's why I have co-host. I don't, I get off on these nerdy marketing rants, and I wouldn't expect people to listen to me for 4 minutes because I get on my rants, unless you really liked marketing. But I would have to find that audience that only wants marketing tips, and then I would have to train them to listen to me. So really building them up to that. And you have to set your expectations when you go into this, and that's really changing any kind of strategy. Set your expectations. If you've never went live before, you have to manage your expectations. You can't think that everybody's going to log on and watch you live.
Right.
That's not going to happen. They're not trained to do that.
Well said. So let's talk a little bit about Google My Business as well, because I think everybody knows Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn to an extent. Google My Business, I feel like, is an enigma to a lot of people, but it's so critical for business owners to have that ownership and control that page, because other people can kind of control that narrative. Is that right?
They can. So the main concept is Google wants to keep Google's traffic. I mean, you're talking 95% of all searches done online come from Google. So they are now keeping about half of that traffic. So we call them zero clicks or no click searches. And you can go up, pull up your phone and look up any business right now, and you're going to see these no click searches where Google is giving you everything you want to know without making you click. And, you know, some people paint Google out to be the bad guy here, but Google's main mission has always been giving you all the information you need in a very easy way. So that's what they're doing now. So Google My Business will provide all of your business information, your phone number. You can chat, you can ask questions, you can find out everything about a business without ever going to their website. And those rankings are going to rank higher than even if you hired an SEO team and paid for this huge package and everything is perfect in terms of optimization, you are still going to get outranked by a Google provided page. So Google My Business is very important, especially when you're talking about local searches and even paid SEM. Those Google owned pages are still going to show first because Google wants to provide all the information that you need without having you search. And if you can stay on Google while doing that, they remain dominant. So claiming your Google My Business page first and foremost, and then verifying it. Usually it'll be through a postcard. So making sure that you are verifying your information. And, you know, you do have to have some connection with a business to be able to claim the page. You have to be able to answer the phone or get the postcard. So there's not going to be somebody that's a random just going through and claiming Google My Business pages like they used to do with domains. But definitely claiming it, and know that 50% of people are not going to ever go to your website. So they're looking at Google My Business. So put all of your information in there with the idea that these people are never going to come to my website. But if you give them enough information, they might want to. So you need to make sure that you're not just copying, pasting, because then they'll go to your website and see the same thing and bounce right out. That's not what you want them to do. So write content specific for Google My Business that entices them to come and learn more. Don't just do a copy and paste. And, you know, they've got some really cool features. It's not a business listing. It's really more of a social network almost. You can post, you can upload photos and videos. When you do post, I would suggest once or twice a week. They expire in 7 days. So always, it's not a channel where you can just set it and go. It's not a listing. It is a living, breathing channel. So posting twice a week, that's what shows up in Google results. It's called the knowledge panel. That's where all of your information shows, and it will show 2 posts. So if you post twice a week, your content's always relevant and it's right there, especially with offers. If you are a retail business, or if you sell anything, offers is a great way because that's good. That shows up first, and you're not really paying for them. So just an investment in time. And then people can ask, you can do a question and answer. So people can contact you very quickly, get answers they want without doing a lot of clicking around and searching and digging. So take advantage of that.
That is a platform, though, that people to visit that as a customer or a potential customer, you are having to Google that business's name. Is that right?
Yeah, but if you also, marketing in Carbondale, for instance,
Hmm.
those local results, or
Right.
marketing near me.
Yeah.
So whatever your service is, a lot of searches are now whatever it is near me,
So
and
it's more of
that's where you.
you're you have someone that is actively looking for you versus Facebook, where your stuff just kind of automatically flies in
Right.
their face. Google My Business is a little bit more on the user's end of wanting to pursue and learn more details. So you have to be prepared and have something set on the table, so to speak, when they get there.
Yeah, I mean, social channels are great for brand awareness and nurturing your audience and informing your audience, and then also building advocates. Google My Business is a tool that you can really use for buyers within the buying cycle or sales funnel, because they are actively searching for your business or businesses that provide your services.
Mm.
So that's really where you get in to that. You want to make sure that you're asking people for reviews. When those pop up, am I going somebody that has no reviews versus somebody that has 6 5-star reviews? Even if they're 4-star reviews, I'm going to look at that because that tells me that they're active, that they are reaching people, that they're doing things. So those are going to show up first. You're going to rank higher eventually. It does take a little while, but you're showing people that you're active. And then who doesn't want to be a 5-star business?
Right. And it's important too to not have your brother-in-law or your cousin or your employees go on and make these reviews. It's, those more organic, natural, satisfied, legitimate, satisfied customers that goes, it's kind of like buying followers on other forms of social media. You want to try to be as authentic and as real as possible, because the analytics kind of tell the real story.
Absolutely. And when you're looking at, I look at Google My Business pages all the time, especially like with boutiques or shopping, or if I'm going to invest money in anything, I always look at reviews, and I look at Google, because they are, if somebody writes a bad review, it is very hard to get Google to take that review down. So it's one of the, it works well if it's if you're doing research, but as a business, it does open opportunity for people that have not been your customers to be dishonest and kind of cross those ethical lines, which we see.
Mhm.
And just addressing those reviews. If it's not a customer, then just say, hey, you know what, we couldn't find you in our database, but if you contact blah, 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 then we can take care of you. I'm sure it's a misunderstanding. You always want to give them the benefit of the doubt. But even if you get a bad review, how you respond to that can really turn a 1-star review into a 5-star in the eyes of somebody that's reading it. If somebody gave you a bad review, even if they gave a lot of details, if the business goes in and addresses those issues, saying that it's not a compliance issue,
Mhm.
then I'm still going to think highly of that business because they took the time to address it. They care about their reputation and they're trying to make it right. But you can also see when people don't personalize it and it's the same
Yeah.
canned response. So I would be really careful about buying into those programs. An agency is good to help manage, but make sure your agency isn't just using one of those programs. Make sure that it's an actual person that's responding and helping and guiding you to respond to those so that you can
And
actually take action.
that's a great, and kind of transitioning into, that's one of the things that we do at Idea Creative Marketing with the reputation monitoring. And, people are interacting with human beings, and it's not a bot generating a response. And, that, like you said, it can take that 1-star review or that, negative comment and change someone's perspective entirely on how quickly, how efficiently, and doing that follow up then, because it's one thing to post it, and then it's another thing to actually put those those words into an action, and follow up with the person or the customer or potential customer.
Yeah, it's a great tool. It can be a revenue generating machine if you use it correctly, you pay attention, and you take full advantage of their features. And it is time consuming, but really anything that's worth it is time consuming. There's not a method. There's not a list that I can give you. I can tell you how to optimize it. But it's really just being responsive, and then just listening, and providing customer service on all fronts, whether it's social media, Google My Business, on your website, being there, especially right now when that's the only customer service you're going to get.
Yeah. So as we kind of wrap things up, if somebody has a brand or a business that they're trying to grow, if they had to choose, if they had to pick one platform and I guess it's going to kind of be contingent on what they have and what they're doing too, but in general, or is this even a fair question? Where would you suggest somebody spend their resources and their time in kind of growing a brand right now, if they're just starting off?
If you are just starting off and you have literally nothing, you don't have a website, I would say get on Facebook. Okay. That's because you can put out all of your information. You still need to, if you have a physical address, Google My Business you need to claim your listing regardless. But if you are looking at an investment, I would invest it in social media. And then once you've got enough following, then go over to build a website. But Google My Business can really act as your website while you're trying to generate enough revenue to build a website.
All right. Anything else, Whitney, as we kind of wind down today?
No, I mean, I can talk forever about nerdy marketing stuff. So you just got to cut me off.
All right. Well, folks, you've learned more about stories. You've learned more about Google My Business and kind of getting started. If you have any questions ever, head over to ideacreativemarketing.com. You can call our office at 618-529-0969. Whitney Roberts is our chief marketing strategist, and she really can go all day talking about this kind of stuff. So it's great to get some insight from her. I'm taking notes as she's talking to, because I learn something new every day, doing this new gig. So Whitney, thank you so much. And friends, thanks for watching, and we will chat again very soon.